Welcome to Game 3 of the series. This is again going to be King Giap versus Challenger Paul. It has gone to the ace game, and Paul had faction selection. He has chosen Oster again. Giap has chosen Soviets again. Let's see if they adapt their builds or strategies a little bit to react to what their opponent was doing in Game 2. Since the matchup is exactly the same, wondering exactly what's going to happen here. Paul playing as Oster on the left, Soviets on the right, mechanized assault, close air support, elite troops for shock rifle, guard motor, anti-infantry tactics. Paul sending his PIO south, double combat engineers going north, conscripts heading center. So neither of them changing their capping order yet, as far as I can tell. Game's going to have pretty much the same opening. Neither of them changing their capping order or tactics at the beginning of the ace game, trying to react to any knowledge they have about their opponent's capping order in Game 2 in any way. It looks like they're going to adopt pretty much the same initial tactics here.
Riflemen ready. This territory is ours.
Conscripts heading for the cutoff right here. We'll push those PIOs away. PIOs with their vision bonus can see those conscripts before the conscripts can see the PIOs. Kind of interesting. PIOs backpedal away without the conscripts ever seeing a thing.
Your orders, comrade.
Grenadiers making their way towards this area will get inside of the building.
Objective secure.
Conscripts grab the sector. Pull back into green cover right here while Grenadiers grab the center VP. Same barbed wire being thrown down here in the north. So far this game is completely identical. Zero deviations.
There are no cowards here.
Grenadiers finish taking control of this cutoff. Grenadiers positioned here, taking shots at long range against those conscripts.
We have more conscripts at our disposal.
Grenadiers taking control of this area, circling around north. We'll move to push away these combat engineers as well. 3rd Grenadier Squad making its way towards this north strategic point. PIO is taking control of the fuel here in the south. Grenadiers taking shots at those combat engineers, pushing them behind those shrubs, apparently. Just gonna hide in this area. Grenadiers move to take control of the munitions point. Combat engineers are just going to position themselves in green cover. I don't think I've ever seen a squad use this green cover position before, so interesting. Here in the south, Grenadiers position themselves with long range against those Grenadiers, or against those conscripts, start trying to bleed them. Conscripts switch targets to those PIOs charging into close range, so the Grenadiers will also charge into close range to try and maximize the damage they deal and negate the conscripts' cover bonus, and the engagement is 1. Conscripts will be forced to retreat. Here in the north, combat engineers are flushed out of their green cover position and forced to retreat, and conscripts are going to have to pull away from these 2 Grenadier squads, and a 4th Grenadier squad is on the field, making its way towards the south. Paul does have control of this fuel point, but will be stalled a little bit as he's forced to contend against the conscript squad inside of this building. Combat engineers taking control of this point, and these 2 squads of Grenadiers backpedaling slightly to the munitions. And a flamethrower has already been upgraded for Giap, making its way towards the central house. Grenadiers will probably spot them. The shrubs here will block shots from the north windows, though, and they're going to make their way straight towards the cutoff, but I don't think Paul will be cut off since he does hold the center victory point right now. Conscripts won't be able to very safely take control of the central points right here as long as those Grenadiers maintain control of this building in this area. Grenadiers here taking heavy damage from conscripts. Will be forced into the building, have about half health remaining. These grenade— wow, really? Oh my god, that incredibly early flamethrower pop. I can't even believe that. It just randomly died. That squad might even get wiped right here. That is some terrible RNG in the opening of this game for Giap. I can't believe that popped so early. Grenadiers jumping into some green cover behind that truck. MG42 taking control of this strategic point right here, and Grenadiers jump into the building. Here in the south, combat engineers, conscripts taking control of this various territory, getting the munitions and fuel captured. Giap will throw up some green cover sandbags here on the fuel point as well. Grenadier squad will be forced to retreat right there. Grenadiers jumping in back into green cover up here to try and bleed these conscripts should they advance aggressively on this munitions point. MG42 being fielded after a 4 Grenadier opening, making its way south, and we will see a 4 Conscript 2 Combat Engineer standard Soviet opening as well.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector. Ready! We have our reinforcements! The enemy has engaged us! Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Grenadiers jumping into close range against those conscripts will be forced to retreat right there.
The enemy is
Flamethrower jumping into close range here in the middle, trying to engage against these various squads. Grenadiers jump into the building to start bleeding those conscripts from range. Flamethrowers about to engage against each other right here, and conscripts here in the north will be engaged by Grenadiers at range. Could go either way. This flamethrower RNG battle is going in favor of the Soviet player. That flamethrower gets away very narrowly. Won't be wiped, fortunately. This flamethrower had to get repurchased. Nice merge, mid-combat merge right there to bring that flamethrower back up to full health, but it's getting focus fire down by 3 squads of Grenadiers. Will not be successful in forcing the Grens from that building. Almost gets wiped, forced to retreat, and it looks like Paul will take this engagement, but he's struggling for map control regardless of how engagements are going. Can't seem to get any territory under his control, struggling to keep up with Giap's 4 conscript opening. He has chosen guard motor coordination this game rather than shock rifle, and he's chosen it much earlier. Waited until 11 CPs in game 2 to pick his commander. This time he's actually going to be a lot more proactive about commander selection. We'll field some guards onto the field. Try and take the game with T-34-85s this time, I assume, rather than taking to tier 3. And Paul has not chosen mechanized assault either. He's also changed his strategy for the ace game, going with close air support. I wonder if he read that his opponent was doing something a little different this game, or if he just wanted to change up his strategy so that his opponent wouldn't know how to counter him right off the bat. I'm curious to see how guard motor versus close air support will go compared to shock rifle versus mechanized assault with tier 3 sprinkled in. It's going to be a completely different game from this point forward.
In our lines. The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
These squads are going to be forced to retreat here. They do get a partial S-mine field down. I don't think he even sees it. Is he really going to walk through that? Oh my god, Giap! No! No! Oh my god, that S-mine field. I can't even believe Giap didn't see that. That was devastating. 2 squads wiped, including a flamethrower. That is horrible. That could cost him this game. Horrible misplay right there. Rifle grenade deployed on those guards. Almost wipes the squad because they're in mostly yellow cover, and they'll be forced to retreat from their first engagement without barely inflicting any damage. MG42 here is going to be forced to retreat right there. And Paul healing up here in the base, making his way back to the front line to engage. Is off to an excellent start this game with those 2 wipes on that miracle S-mine field right there.
This is a nice spot of land, and it is ours. We have new resources.
Grenadiers taking control of the north. Lots of LMGs and flamethrowers on Paul's various infantry squads, and he's going to purchase himself an MG42 as well. New S-mine field going down. Still, there it is. Battle phase 1 has completed. Gonna have to retreat his flamethrower at some point or field a new squad of piles to get his tier 2 structure up and start making AT guns, but there's no hurry. His opponent's going to be stalling for call-ins as far as we can tell, so Paul does not need any AT guns yet, and sticking with tier 1 is a perfectly reasonable thing to do against what appears to be guards and conscript and flamethrower spam.
The enemy is taking our territory.
That squad loses their flamethrower. So many flamethrowers popping this game. MG42 on the flank of those conscripts. Cover position will will force them from their cover so the Grenadiers can do more damage to them through LMG. Flanking squad of conscripts force the MG42 to retreat right there. LMG Grenadiers taking control of the cutoff here, shut down some of Giap's income. Surprisingly, even with those 2 wipes, Giap still has pretty strong map control, but Paul is making some really impressive cutoff maneuvers here, completely shutting down Giap's income to slow the arrival of those call-ins, if at all possible. Honestly, they'll probably still get here no matter what Paul does. If Giap just sticks with tier 2 and nothing else, which he probably intends to. LNG Grenadiers moving to engage against these conscripts here in the north and try and get some territory under control up here. These 2 squads making their way to try and push these conscripts out of their green cover and get back control of some territory here in the south. MG42 is setting up here in a slightly defensive location, a little far away from the cutoff for now. LMG Grenadiers get some territory captured, and it looks like that conscript squad will be forced from their cover position, possibly forced to retreat, but they want to retreat. They want a soft retreat to a more favorable retreat path first, I think.
If there are mines, we'll find them. Pioneers awaiting orders.
Minesweeper there from Paul, fortunately. Good to see that this game. Hopefully he will be suffering a little bit less manpower bleed this game on mines than he did in game 2.
Territory secured. The enemy is attempting to steal our sector. We have a full complement.
Rifle grenade right here on that clump. Doesn't do too much damage. Mortar fielded by Giap. I'm going to deploy smoke up here in front of the MG, but unfortunately the barrage was a little late, and the rifle grenade turned the engagement against him anyway. Giap trying to get control of the cutoff here. He will sweep up an S-mine cluster with this freshly fielded minesweeper. He continues to pretty much struggle though. Struggling to hold any territory, have any income. Paul doing a really good job of aggressively maintaining control of these cutoffs and worrying about backcapping later. Currently the victory points haven't really ticked that fast against anybody. Paul sliding down to 400 victory points now as he moves to stop the clock here in the north.
Mortar ready for orders. Return fire! Man down! Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory.
MG42 suppressing these conscripts right here, and Grenadiers moving to engage against them.
Stuka can strafe at your command.
Another S-mine cluster up here in the north. Meanwhile in the south, Grenadiers taking control of the munitions. Lots of squads healing and reinforcing here in the base. Giap seems like he doesn't really know what he's going to do. A lot of his forces inactive right now, and he's having trouble once again breaking this really aggressive containment by Paul. And close air support's only going to get worse. He's still 4 CPs away from his T-34s. Paul has not gone tier 2. He's actually tech to battle phase 2. It looks like he might go tier 3 this game. He's got such good map control that he might actually get out of medium tank despite having gone close air support. I haven't actually been checking how many times he's redistributed. Maybe not even that many times. I'm not sure. Wow, he's gonna go tier 4. Tier 4 close air support. That's how good his map control is. He must feel quite confident in his ability to maintain this containment. Giap is going to make an attempt for the south with these 2 conscript squads. One jumping into this building right here. LMG Grand's toss a rifle grenade into the building. Conscripts will dodge. MG42 repositions to some green cover up here, and that conscript squad is falling dangerously low. Grenadiers will secure vision against 2 conscript squads here in the south. Rifle grenade there weakens that squad significantly. MG42 will suppress this push by 3 squads, forcing them right back into the base. Wow, AT gun on the field. That might not have been the best choice. AT gun against close air support, and it's a little early for any tier 4 unit that Paul might be fielding. If he is going to go Broom Bearer or something, it's going to be quite a while before anything like that arrives. He hasn't even built the tier 4 structure yet. But a triple cap is going against Giap right now, and it looks like the victory points are about to pull even.
Grenadier squad at full strength.
MG42 suppresses a couple squads. Giap failing to break through on any front. Maybe he could deploy smoke to try and break his containment. He needs to try and utilize more flanking routes or something. He just keeps walking up this road, getting tunnel vision, getting pushed back into it. There's the smoke. Every time he uses the smoke, it seems like it's a little late. Here comes a huge blob of infantry straight down the gut with the smoke covering the advance, but anti-infantry strafe is going to immediately shut that push down, and everything will be pushed right back into the base. Not even close. Meanwhile, rifle grenade coming in from the left side, dealing huge damage to that mortar and flamethrower over here from this direction. And everything in the south is going to get retaken by Paul easily. Giap will be pushed back into his base and continues to pretty much just sit here with most of his infantry while he tries to think about what to do about his current situation, which is clearly awful.
Awaiting command. We are taking fire. Put down your tools and get behind something. Movement engine or command.
Mortar working on the grenadiers inside of this building. Flamethrower forced retreat from the south, not accomplishing anything there. Two squads of guards making their way forward, probably going to walk into a machine gun again. Guards retreating right there through that road, do almost get wiped by PTRS snipes though. They will continue their advance here. The machine gun currently set up, actually not set up, unpacked up here in these shrubs. Guards slowly advancing. Over here on the right side, Minesweeper will clear up that S-mine field, and conscripts will continue their advance up the right flank. Guards take control of this building. Second squad backpedaling ever so slightly over here in this direction. Rifle grenade into the building brings this squad quite low. Mortar is deploying smoke in front of that machine gun, and conscripts moving up on the north flank should be able to push it away. AT gun deploys a high explosive barrage on the machine gun as well, and it will be forced to retreat. Guards inside this building are taking too much damage and have to get out of this engagement. MG42 set up over here in the road will suppress that squad of conscripts, force them back into the base, but at least Giap will get control of some territory here in the north, slow things down for Paul, who has built his tier 4 structure and is up to 100 fuel even after doing so. He does redistribute 50 fuel right there, so that's going to slow down whatever tier 4 unit he was thinking of getting. Doing a little backcapping down here with these piles as well. Grenadiers forced to retreat from the center, but still plenty of LMG Grenadiers available for this engagement to try and push Giap back into his base. Two squads of conscripts will take control of the munitions point in the north, and the guards look like they are probably going to be able to get this fuel point captured, although they're going to bleed a little bit in their attempt to do so. Mortar bombarding this house is bringing it down pretty low. Paul doesn't want to stick around in there any more than he has to, and will reposition out of it. Guards finish taking control of the fuel. Mortar falling on those Grens forces that retreat. Meanwhile, conscripts win an engagement against grenadiers here in the north, so Giap will slowly start to experience a little bit of success on this battlefield. Should have no problem pushing these minesweeper piles out of the south either, so territory in various different locations of this map are going to start falling back into Giap's control, fortunately. Try and retake control of this game a little bit, and his call-ins will be available quite soon. Once he gets to 10 CPs, Paul is going to have to try and survive against T-3485s. He will have access to a Panther pretty soon. Panther versus T-3485s will be nice, but he doesn't have any AT guns of his own, so that's going to hurt his ability to combat T-34s with just one Panther and Panzerfaust, and maybe anti-tank strafe, of course, Teller mines perhaps. Panther will be available very soon, assuming that's the route he goes. If he goes Broom Bear, then he'll definitely have to tech back to tier 2 for AT guns. And I really doubt he's going to go Panzerwerfer.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
MG42 retreating through the yellow cover right there. MG42 here in the north, set up to fire on those combat engineers. LMG Grenadiers moving to do the same. Here in the center, LMG Grens are going to try and push away those Minesweeper combat engineers, and guards set up in green cover on the fuel point will stall Paul's advance back across the south of the map. Paul slowly and steadily losing map control on all fronts. His LMG Grenadier blob making his way down the central road to try and change that situation. Anti-infantry strafe being called in on something, on those conscripts, I guess. Guards and conscripts will both easily dodge that completely. Doesn't really hit anything, centered on that house. But guards are going to be forced to retreat from massed grenadiers anyway. Conscripts are pushed all the way back into this house, and Paul will be able to get control of a lot of territory back, plus, of course, the strategic cutoff, and he's going to throw down another S-mine field right there. Guards leave their position and cover on the fuel point up onto the strategic point right here and start engaging against the Grenadiers in this building, and Paul's Panther is in production. Meanwhile, Giap is about 100 manpower away from getting his T-34-85s on the field.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Rifle grenade on those guards forces a retreat right there. Minesweeper is also forced to retreat. Grenade into the building brings those guards, Grenadiers low. They also have to pull away, but it looks like control of this fuel point will remain in Paul's hands. He's got 700 manpower in the bank, by the way, which he might want to dump into AT guns if he can get a tier 2 structure up. To get the tier 2 structure would cost him 15 fuel, 120 manpower. He could definitely swing that. Panther is on the field, and it will arrive at the exact same time as T-34-85. So apparently, as Oster, if you want to get a Panther out at the same time as T-34-85s, you need to basically have the Soviet player cut off for the entire game. But Paul will succeed in this endeavor with a very decent chunk of manpower to spare. He will spot the T-34 call-in coming with this squad of Grenadiers. Panther is heading straight down this road to engage against that T-34, which may have just sustained engine damage. There it goes. Panther moves up to start taking shots at range, but wants to avoid engine damage of its own. Trying to kite those conscripts to make sure it doesn't get an AT grenade. Two squads of LMG Grenadiers taking control of the South Fuel and Munitions. And these Grenadiers are making their way towards this central road, forcing away those combat engineers. MG-42. Ooh, T-34 just wiped that MG-42 in one shot. Panther hasn't yet gotten any good shots off. Can't safely get vision. Get vision into line. Grenadiers in the path of those T-34s are going to make it difficult for a Panzerfaust to connect. Panther shot connects with the T-34 right there. It's going to pull back to safety a little bit. Paul's probably going to start redistributing fuel into munitions from this point to try and use his anti-tank strafe to maybe or dive bomb to maybe destroy team weapons and tanks where opportunities arrive. Since Giap is currently being forced to engage quite close to the edge of the map, his plane abilities will be quite strong. T-34 is going in hard on the Panther right here. It doesn't have any anti-tank protection. Anti-infantry strafe pins down the guards. There's engine damage. The Panther will continue kiting this T-34 right here. T-34 takes a shot at Grenz. Panther shot misses right there. T-34 is going to run over a bunch of S-mines. That Grenadier squad has to retreat. This T-34 is still in excellent condition. No anti-tank strafe from Paul just yet. He hasn't quite found a good opportunity as he micros his Panther.
We are losing a sector. Pioneers ready for assignment.
Grenadiers moving to take control of the victory point here in the top right. MG-42 is going to set up facing right to fire on those guards.
Our opponents are seizing a sector. We are ready.
And they are moving up to engage against these combat engineers. They will be able to push them away.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
T-34s, partially repaired or fully repaired, moving to re-engage against these Grens, bringing some of them low, but nothing too serious. The victory points situation is starting to get a little bit urgent for Giap, having fallen to 150 VPs. Big hit on that Grenadier squad, but it looks like it'll get to safety as well. Panther's been fully repaired and is going to move to engage. And there's tier 2 from Paul, and going to dump all of that manpower float into some AT guns. So he has something with a little bit more punch against those T-34s, since the Panther is quite tanky, but it alone takes forever to kill a T-34. No redistribution by Paul in recently either. Up to 150 fuel. He might want to be trying to get out a second Panther. If he can get a second Panther out, he'll be in a very good position against these T-34s for sure.
Enemy forces are securing our territory. Heavy machine guns! Grenadier! We are taking losses!
That squad of Grenadiers is gonna retreat.
Our opponents are seizing a sector. New anti-tank gun has arrived. In combat!
Combat Engineers going to be forced to retreat right there. Grenadiers taking control of the center victory point. Here in the north, Guards are taking control of the munitions. Conscripts set up in green cover right here. Don't look like they're going to be able to survive against Paul's push here for the south fuel. T-34 is going in on the Grenadiers. They'll be forced to retreat again. This game's kind of turning into a bit of a slugfest, but somehow Giap is taking a lot of map control back. And is actually sort of setting up a triple cap against Paul as well, mostly because Paul doesn't have that very good anti-tank. But now that he has an AT gun on the field and a second Panther in production, he's really beefing up his anti-T-34 potential. Recon pass coming over the map as well. Panther will also provide a little bit of vision. He's got access to all of his plane abilities. Might drop an AT stray for a dive bomb on something. Dive bomb is in fact coming in somewhere, probably on the field gun if I had to guess, but I'm not sure, or the mortar. I hear it. Oh, I think it's coming in on the base. Pretty sure Giap will dodge that easily, though. That doesn't really kill anything except for a poor medic. Panther pulls back, hasn't taken any damage yet. Once the second Panther hits the field, I think Paul will be in a better position to get a little more aggressive for territory. For now, he's just trying to manage the threat of those T-34s. Not really able to do anything about them aggressively yet. He also hasn't planted any teller mines. Might consider using teller mines, but Giap never engages overly aggressively with his tanks as far as I can tell. Very defensive, very passive, trying to engage as cost effectively as possible at all times. Here in the south, conscripts will take control of this fuel point, jumping into a green cover position against these Pios. One T-34 heading south to try and push those Pios away. Meanwhile, here in the center, MG-42 will defend against this push by Guards. Here in the north, Paul will try and get control of the victory point with that squad of Grens. T-34 putting pressure on them to retreat. Here in the south, the Panther will convince that T-34 to disengage slightly. Pios do have to retreat, but there's the second Panther on the field for Paul. Nice support with the Minesweeper, by the way, making sure that his Panthers do not hit any mines, because that is definitely something he does not want to happen.
The enemy is taking our territory. That's everyone!
Panthers with their top mount machine guns here in the center engaging against these conscripts. They will be forced to retreat.
That's it! Fully reinforced!
Grenadiers taking control of the center VP. The clock will start ticking against Giap again here as Paul takes control of these territories. Giap throws a mine down here on the north victory point. Brief ceasefire. Squads making their way towards the center VP. These two squads of Guards making their way towards the south. There's not really anything down here to counter, and the Minesweeper will be able to clear these S mines, no problem. Panthers move center with MG and LMG Grenadier support. AT gun also in the area. Paul will throw down an anti-infantry strafe on those two Guards, but I don't think there's anything he can follow up with, so they're just going to get unsuppressed, and it's no big deal. Meanwhile, Giap has the fuel for a new set of call-ins quite soon, but he's pop captain and also doesn't have any manpower, so no new T-34s in the immediate future. I don't see any defensive mines here in the south, but I don't think Paul's going to aggressively chase into the base, which is probably the right call. Without Minesweeper support, he should just be playing it safe and forcing retreats and working to victory points. He has a 150 victory point lead, and there's no rush at all for Paul at this stage of the game. He has lots of great abilities to utilize against his opponent's forces. He has a great core of tanks and infantry to utilize against his opponent as well, so he's in no hurry to win this game. Just going to continue playing safe and smart. He does not want to lose 2 Panthers to a single mine the way he did in the finals of Starcross Cup 2. I'm sure that Paul has learned his lesson. Pios will be forced to retreat away from those flamethrowers right there. I don't know. Paul is still struggling for map control. He's still struggling for map control. Just can't seem to get any territory back. Pulls back to safety for repairs on his Panthers, and he just seems to be losing engagements on all fronts. Guards proving quite difficult for him to contend with, and never finding quite the opportunity he's looking for on those T-34s. His Panthers should be superior to T-34s in every way, but he just can't seem to capitalize on that fact. And Giap is going to set up a triple cap against him again as the game makes its way up to 30 minutes. T-34s find a bit of an opportunity against that Panther, but the armor's protecting it quite well. A lot of shots bouncing. It's not in any real danger. Grenade toss right there forces one retreat from those Grenadiers. Second squad moving up into the central capture circle to force away a couple more squads.
Contact!
Rifle grenade on those conscripts brings them quite low, and they'll be forced to retreat.
Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
Here, a dive bomb coming in. I'm not sure if anything's dodging. Oh, I don't even know what that was aimed at. I didn't hit it. I didn't even come close to hitting anything. Panthers making their way to rotate north against those T-34s. They may have an opportunity here. I think Paul may have no choice but to get aggressive with those Panthers. There are no mines up here. He does sustain engine damage on an AT grenade, unfortunately. The field gun is moving to counter without... well, he does have access to the anti-tank strafe. He could consider trying to drop that on something. The entire south is largely undefended except for a squad of guards in this building. A couple squads reinforcing and healing here in the base. Paul's not really quite that close to his pop cap either. He could maybe throw a few more squads out if he could get the manpower together. Struggling to engage cost effectively though. MG42 is going to try and push away a stolen MG42 here in the center. The T-34 will expose itself to AT gun fire right there. Paul should be able to maintain control of this center victory point, and a Panther moves up to engage against that T-34 while the other Panther is having its engine repaired here in the north, and Grenadiers are trying to get control of this fuel and victory point. Guards leave their position in the house and flank that machine gun to try and force a retreat and get control of the center VP, putting pressure on the AT gun as well. Another dive bomb is being dropped on something here in the central base, plus anti-infantry strafe. Oh my god, that dive bomb was not where I thought it was. That just wrecked everything. Wow, I can't even believe that. Look at all the carnage. There's so many corpses. AT gun cleared. So many infantry squads just got blasted. I guess there weren't actually any wipes though. Fortunately for Giap, he gets a little bit lucky. There were no wipes on that beautiful dive bomb. Wow. Grenadiers will be forced to retreat right there, and these two Panthers are moving up to engage against a T-34 right here. Paul does have the clock ticking against Giap again, but still 140 victory points remaining. This game does not seem like it's going to end anytime soon if there's never a decisive engagement between either side's tanks. Neither of them has lost a medium tank yet because they're both being very careful. This is the ace game. They can't afford to be overly aggressive, overly commit with a tank without minesweeper support, which is hard to necessarily provide all the time. Paul never dives. Giap never seems to overextend himself beyond just what he needs to do to try and take victory point control on a given front. That tank takes engine damage to an AT grenade. MG42 continues to defend the center VP, but it's going to have to retreat away from those conscripts. They are taking heavy damage though. Will be forced to retreat from this engagement. No new set of T-34s anytime soon, by the way, because of massive manpower bleed to Giap. He's actually had the fuel for a while. He's got almost 100 fuel surplus, in fact, but he cannot get the manpower together that he needs. Here in the north, there is an S-mine field. Nice S-mine field. Almost wipes those guards, but just not quite. Meanwhile, Grenadiers try and defend the south VP and keep this triple cap going against Giap. Triple cap is so valuable. Look at those points just ticking so quick. Panther moves south to push away those guards. Other Panther continues to defend here in the middle. Nothing currently working on the north, so Giap will be able to get that point under control with that one-man, very nearly dead guard squad.
The territory is in our hands.
We are ready to go, comrades. We have found the enemy.
T-34, crude loaded and ready.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
T-34 moves up here to start blowing up the rest of the S-mines. Guards will retreat to get some healing and reinforcement done. What is that AT gun doing? Oh no, that looks like a really overly aggressive maneuver right there. Why would he do this? Is he trying to clear out his own pop cap? Maybe, actually. Maybe. No. I think that was a misclick. Either way, it's dead now.
The enemy has silenced one of our anti-tank
It's
guns.
dead now. He still actually has quite a bit of pop cap that he'd have to clear out if he wanted to get another set of T-34s out, which I guess he doesn't. I'm pretty sure he doesn't, because he's operating on a very big infantry corps, including 2 mortars, machine gun. His field gun that he did have is dead now. Another recon pass coming over the base, dropping a dive bomb somewhere. I don't know where it's being dropped. Sounds like it's in this general area. I don't think it's quite on target to hit anything this time, unless it's on the mortars, maybe? No, it's in the base, and it deals some minor damage to that guard squad, but nothing too serious, and no wipes again.
It is now under our control.
Anti-infantry strafe pins down these guards and will force them back into the base. Fortunately, Giap has stopped the clock, at least temporarily. Guards are on their way to get it ticking again here in the north and here in the south. Squads will have to do the same. Conscripts taking control of the fuel point. These two squads, these two Panthers making their way to engage against the T-34s right there. Will not be able to find an opportunity against them. With the field gun dead, by the way, the only real threat to Paul's Panthers are mines. He could definitely start getting aggressive here. He also has 2 AT guns on the field to protect his Panthers against an overly aggressive attempt by the T-34s to flank. So I think Paul is poised to take this game. He just needs to continue to execute carefully. Moving a minesweeper up to clear the way for his Panthers. They will get a volley off on that T-34. It's got to pull back to safety. I think Paul might take this opportunity to get very aggressive. Going down this road, there is a big group of infantry right there, though, and Paul, I think, is again going to simply play it safe and disengage and just maintain control of the victory point. Anti-infantry strafe will push anti-tank strafe will come in on the T-34 and deal minor damage, also force a retreat from the infantry blob. Meanwhile, here in the south, rifle grenade brings a conscript squad low. Continue to try and engage there and get them out of the capture circle. Keep that clock ticking against Giap, who has only 80 victory points remaining and is not making very much progress on any particular front. And he's really struggling to deal with this double Panther build by Paul, which is slowly getting stronger as well, up to Vet 2 on this one, which will make it even tankier. Anti-infantry strafe right there. Panthers have a huge opportunity here in the base. All these infantry squads currently locked in the base. Panthers trying to finish off a T-34, getting very aggressive here, will not hit any mines. AT guns moving up to support as well. Giap getting very stuck in his base. A dive bomb is coming in on the base. This could be GG depending on where this dive bomb lands. Oh, that was a pretty good one. That was a pretty good one. Obliterates the mortar crew. Massive manpower bleed on guards, conscripts, team weapons, everything. The T-34s are both at extremely low HP. Couple squads moving up on the flank right here. Probably not going to be able to very significantly punish that. Panthers still have a huge amount of health remaining. The clock continues to tick against Giap. 62 victory points remain. He shows no signs of being able to recover from these repeated dive bombs and strafes. Paul can just continue converting his fuel to munitions for the entire rest of the game. Keep operating on this core of 2 Panthers and supporting infantry and team weapons, which is just superior to everything Giap really has in pretty much every way. His off-map abilities are better, his units are better, except for the guards. The guards will definitely have infantry dominance, but with enough LMG, grenadiers, and tanks are what matter the most. 2 Panthers can beat 2 T-3485s, and Giap has not been fielding extra T-34s. Wow, what is that T-34? What is that Panther doing, though? I mean, it's not too late for Paul to just reverse his tank into the enemy base and lose the game as a result of that. Another dive bomb is coming in on the base, though. Oh, no! Oh, man, they get worse every time. That Panther did go down, though. It did go down. Fortunately, a T-gun is available to support in this engagement. That T-34 will likely be destroyed. There it goes. Vet 2 Panther trying to pull back to safety away from the T-34 right here. Blitzing to safety. T-34 shot missed. It's trying to go deep. Anti-tank guns rotating, trying to protect. One shot on the rear. Armor Panther will re-engage against that almost destroyed T-34, although it is a little bit stuck on the capture circle right here. And destroyed engine. That's the T-34 down. That's all of his infantry down. I'm pretty sure Paul could not possibly throw this game at this point. That is definitely GG. Giap will be dethroned. Paul will absolutely become the next star-crossed king. Giap making a feeble push here for the north with 2 of his 3 remaining squads of infantry, and a T-gun is apparently going to go do some backcapping there. Paul bolstering his defenses, strengthening himself for the next set of T-34s. This is, of course, Giap's last hurrah. There's probably not anything that these 2 fresh T-34s are going to be able to accomplish against Paul's vetted army that 2 vetted T-34s were able to with infantry support. They are going to head south. That T-34 gets caught by AT guns easily, not even close to accomplishing anything at all. T-34 will pull back towards the base. Panzerfaust on this T-34 damages its engine. Panther and supporting AT guns will have no problem hunting and killing that with engine damage. That's half of the T-34s already destroyed. And Giap knows he cannot possibly win this game. Definitely over. So Paul will become the king. Well played, Paul. And what a game! What a game to end the day on, end the series on. 42 minutes. Close air support versus guard motor coordination. Meta may be a little stale, but honestly I do find it fun to watch. So GG. Well played by both players. And all hail the new king, King Paul.